Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the University of Pikeville. Coach, I told you you'd walk in right when we started, didn't I tell you? UPIKE Football Coaches Show. I'm Rick Bentley. He is not Corey Phipps. He'd be Lee Kirkland. And Lee, you were admiring our new addition to the set here. What do you got here?
We got us a little championship trophy. It's definitely a great piece to add to it.
It's nice. I like that a lot. I didn't know we got a trophy. I saw the banner. I didn't know there was a trophy involved in that. So
I didn't either till
it was good to see.
About yesterday.
I want to say this. Coach just walked in. We've got an FCA event on campus today, state leader and that sort of thing coming in, and he made sure he went by that before he came here. That's why he was running a little bit late. We'll just start with Lee. That's okay. Lee, the Mid-South Conference Player of the Week last week. And of all the numbers that you had, and a couple of national records you set there, it's not those I want to ask you about. Let's talk about going 41 for 47.
That's pretty good stuff. I mean, it's called efficiency right there. Everybody was catching the ball and getting downfield. It was a good offensive scheme that we had going, and we were executing at a high level.
What would you say is a good percentage for a quarterback? 65?
Anywhere in the 60s, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere there.
Yeah.
87.2%.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good.
So that's why I wanted to ask you about that. I mean, at what point did you have that moment where you're like, all right, I got it. Let's go.
There's, some games like that will just happen where, everything's clicking. But you never go into it thinking that. But just at the end of the game, you're like, oh, man, it felt really nice. And
clearly you had it going that day. And as you said, look, it wasn't the Lee Kirkland show. We had several receivers involved. I think there was like 9 guys caught a pass. And the line is protecting you. I told Coach you got sacked one time, and I was probably the most surprised person in the place that you got sacked. And he said, no, I think Lee was the most surprised person that they got to him there. But it was, it was one of those days that just seemed like everything went perfectly.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, I'm not the one running down the field, so I'm just getting them the ball, and the athletes are doing what they do, and O-line's protecting me how they have been all year. So, it was just great offensive performance.
And 11 touchdown passes, broke a national record that it stood like, okay, so I'm 57.
Yeah.
That record stood for 56 years. So,
oh,
I was alive when it was set, but, I might have been the only one there who was. And, I know that, they clearly we were playing a team that just wasn't our caliber, but that's okay. But when you get to that level, those are, you're talking about video game numbers. I saw that in a story about you this week.
People said that,
and it really was like video game numbers for you.
Yeah, it was our senior day, so we were just, leaving it on a good note. So, like I said before, everything was just heading in the right direction.
Was there an idea to throw the ball? I know, Diego had 9 catches, led the team in catches. He's a senior also, so I was wondering, were you guys trying to not do away with the underclassmen? But
yeah, well, we weren't really, trying to get it to one specific person. We were just, trying to get everybody the ball, and you said like 9 different people scored, so that was the best way to do it, through the air, and everybody had a good day, and it was really fun. It was a lot of enjoyment there.
And of course, the one guy who caught the most passes,
Brandon Newton,
touchdown pass, was a freshman.
Yeah.
Brandon Newton.
I'm telling you, he's pretty good.
He's not bad at all. So what is this? What does this mean to you?
It means a lot. I was glad I could, leave Pikeville on a good note. So, if that's our last home game, I'm glad it went out in that fashion, and glad I got to do it with my boys.
98 career touchdown passes.
Oh, wow. It's pretty good.
Yeah, not bad at all. That's my job, is to count things. And
gotcha, yeah.
Yeah, so 98, that's a lot, man.
Thank you.
That's quite a career.
Yeah, I'm getting it to the guys. A lot of the times it's them running. So
yeah. Well, that's, I appreciate that, and it's true. Still, somebody's got to get on the ball in a spot where they can go, and also it's a team effort between you and the line. They've got to block for you, but you've got to get rid of the football too. You can't expect them to stand there and block all day long.
Yeah, it's a big team effort. Everybody's doing their job, and if everybody does their job, you see what kind of caliber offense we can be.
got another guest we'll have on here today a little bit later, Chucky Moore. Tell me about Chuck.
Chuck's been here a few years, and it's been a great experience knowing him since he came in, and he's been, a powerhouse on that offense. That defense. Sorry.
Yeah.
But he leads that linebacker core.
He leads the team in tackles this year, no question about that. And just I wonder, I know what it's like between you and Ben in practice. I wonder, is he pretty vocal with you too?
Or? Oh yeah, he's not as vocal as Ben because he's doing his own thing
who
with
could
his
be
guys.
as vocal as
Yeah,
Ben?
no,
Right?
not many. But me and him joke around. We have fun and we talk, and I think we're real competitive at practice.
I'm trying to find a record here. That's why I'm playing with my phone, if you're wondering. Trying to find another record that you said. I know a lot of passing yards, but it was really, while it was set a national record, it wasn't that many more than you had against Union last year. You were right in the neighborhood of that last year.
Now, I think Union's was 7 last year, I believe, or something like that, or 6. Or?
Yeah, it was. But I was talking about the 7 touchdowns. I'm talking about the passing yards, yards in a game.
Yeah.
Here's the record I was looking for. The record that you tied is in all of college football history. David Klingler of Houston threw 11 touchdown passes in a game in 1990, and Klingler played in the NFL for a while.
Yeah.
So this is not just some Joe Schmo who is
No, yeah.
That's pretty good. It's pretty significant,
stuff.
Right?
It's pretty crazy to think about. Whenever it came out, I was shocked.
There's a lot of those things that are happening, and like you say, you kind of surprise yourself. Tell me about your relationship with those offensive linemen. I know
it's great. After games we hang out and we always talking throughout the week, and weights whenever we're in the weight room. We have a quarterback rack, and then it's offensive linemen all around us. So we're always with them.
So are you on the quarterback rack or one of the lineman racks? You're big as some of those guys.
Yeah, a lot of people joke that I could fit in with the linemen, but we have our own quarterback rack, and then everybody else.
Tell me what you know about Baker.
Baker, there's a really good program. They had a nice year, 9-1, and they have a really good defense. And we're hoping that our offense can counter that defense and get out there and get a win.
Had a conversation with their SID last night, and he said, I'm really looking forward to this because he said, I know about your quarterback and your offense.
Yeah.
And he said we kind of lean on our defense, so it's going to be a good matchup. It's going to be interesting to see how that pays off. So, they're obviously aware of you. But, at the same time, somebody's got to stop you, and nobody's been able to do that so far.
Yeah, it'll be a really good matchup. I think they're averaging like 14 points a game, their defense is. Mm-hmm. So, we're going to try to make it more than that. So, it'll be a really good matchup, and I'm excited to get, first-round playoff.
And only the second playoff game in school history. The other starting quarterback was Chip English, who's the coach at Hoover High School down in Alabama now.
Really?
And just really good guy. We trailed 13-7 when the fourth quarter started. And then it got a little sideways, lost 41-7. But we had really had a lot of things going our way there defensively. Had 3 interceptions. Their quarterback, who was a very good quarterback, Antoine Marsh, in our Hall of Fame, had 2 interceptions. E.J. Underwood, who was a transfer from Ohio State, had a pick in that game. The touchdown pass, 34-yarder to Justin Lamb. You probably know Justin, one of our alums, who's also in our Hall of Fame. So, the time that we got there, we had a pretty good performance for 3 quarters. So, I'm sure that's something that you guys want to get done for 4 quarters, though.
Yeah, we want to push through that mark and change the narrative for UPIKE football and let us be known to the country.
Yeah,
we can make a name.
Let everybody know we're legit, right?
Yeah.
And who have you heard from this week?
Are you talking about like family or?
Yeah, or maybe former teammates or.
Lots of people. I've had a couple guys back home, text me, and then I've had a couple guys on Facebook from old guys back in the day. They've texted me, telling me congratulations and good luck on the playoffs. Go get them.
That's pretty cool,
Stuff
huh?
like that, yeah.
It's that brotherhood that you guys talk about, right?
Yep.
And those guys from back in the day, well, they're still part of that.
Yeah, they are.
So we're doing this for them too, right?
For sure. They help build the UPIKE football, and we're just shaping it in the way we want it to be.
Yeah, I think we're in really good shape there. I'll tell you what, brother, I'm going to let you go. We're going to take a little break here, and we'll get Coach in here and talk to him for a minute and see what he's got to say about
Gotcha.
this.
Well, appreciate you.
Give him an opportunity to challenge anything you and I might have said while we were sitting over here. We'll be back after this with Coach Corey Phipps. You're watching the UPIKE Football Coaches Show here on the UPIKE Sports Network. Welcome back to UPIKE Football Coaches Show. It's the Coaches Show. We thought we'd work the coach in here a little bit too. And Corey Phipps is joining us here. First of all, congratulations. I mean, look, when you got here, we were nowhere near being conference champions or anything like that. And here we are going to the playoffs. So, I mean, it's amazing what's happened here in this period of time.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that. I'm not going to take any credit for it. Great assistant coaches. There were some really good players here. Dow Holland left for us. We've added some guys to that. Strength coaches, academic support folks, dean of students, retention, on and on and on and on. Great instructors, people like you. There's a lot of people that have poured into our guys to get us to this moment. And, somebody said, you're 5-5 headed to the playoffs. What do you think? I said, I think it's going to be a celebration this week of the resiliency of a group of men who wanted to do the right things for the right reasons for each other. And for their brotherhood, and here we are. And I said, it's kind of like that guy. You go, how's he marrying her? Well, guess what? He's with her.
That's right.
And you may say, you're 5-5. How are you in the playoffs? Well, we're here.
We are.
And if you look at it, losses of 1, 2, 3, and 7. We could very well be 9-1, very much like Baker University. So, we're excited about the opportunity to travel out to Kansas, in Baldwin, Kansas, and, right out, kind of in between Lawrence and Kansas City, and have the opportunity to play a football game. And, we just want to take it 1 week at a time, and hopefully we're eating Thanksgiving together next week.
Let's hope so. That's the plan right now. Coach, I talked to Lee, and one of the things he said was, because I asked him, I said, who have you heard from?
Yeah.
And he said, I've heard from a lot of family and people back home, but he said, I've also heard from some of the guys who played here in the past, who just reached out. And I think that's pretty cool, because we want them to feel like they're part of this too, right?
Absolutely.
Like those Elite 9 guys, there's 7 of them still around. We want them to know, hey, listen, you laid the foundation.
Yeah, those, you guys kind of referred to them as the Elite 9, but they were the 9, first players who started this program. And, 7 of them are, 2 have passed on and 7 are still alive. So, it's hard not to reflect on those guys' experience.
Right.
And, a bunch of guys in between. We hope this is one of many conference championships and playoff opportunities moving forward for the UPIKE Bears. But, I don't think anybody will ever top the just emotional experience that these guys have gone through. I told our coach, I said, you may be the head coach Jaleel or Coach Davis or Coach Tinsley, at Alabama someday, and be sitting there at 15-0. And I don't think you will ever have gotten more out of a group of young men who weren't talentless. Don't get me wrong when I say that. But we're on that struggle bus at 0-4, figured out a way, and, got to this moment. And, obviously the stars have got to line up and, things work out just like they're supposed to. We were really, in a place where we thought we weren't going to make the playoffs. So we were playing our seniors a ton in that game. It was senior day, and, in my mind had conceded that Point was not going to lose the blue field. And, Dewey Lusk, my good friend over there.
A really good friend now, right?
Yeah, that's right. He said I owe him some of Kentucky's finest bourbon. And, so he got that win. Probably the most meaningful moment in my I don't know if I want to say meaningful, but the most unreal moment in my athletic career as a player, coach, anything, fan, was on that sideline. We just scored a touchdown, and there was no energy from it. We'd scored a few that day. Yeah. And all of a sudden the crowd goes crazy. They go wild. And the kids grab me, and they're saying, Coach, you're good, you're good, you're good. We're in, you're good.
So we're watching it in the press box. We're following along. And then all of a sudden I heard Landon Rowe scream like he'd been shot.
Yeah.
And jumping up and down on the sidelines, and here all the rest of them came. And it was on after that.
Yeah, because I told the kids, I said, I don't want to know the score, don't need to know updates. I want one last day with my dudes. And
told me, whatever you do, I don't want to know that score.
Yeah, I know.
And I said, listen, I wasn't responsible for that. I know who was,
absolutely.
But I wasn't responsible
well,
for that.
I'm just glad it was in our favor. But it was so unreal we didn't get the kicker out there for an extra point. But he would have been 13 of 13 potentially. So,
that's true.
But,
so tell me, who have you heard from this week?
Oh, man, I've heard from everybody. You know, there's been a lot of articles about Lee and, you know, kind of national coaching publications. And I've had Division I guys and Division I guys. I know a guy from a guy from a guy from a guy loosely texted me like, hey, man, you know, that's unreal with your quarterback. And, you know, I've had old college teammates and high school teammates and junior college teammates and, you know, guys I've worked with and, you know, community members here and other places I've worked that have seen the news on social media and different places and, you know, just, you know, pour out that they're so proud of us and me and the opportunity to win this conference championship. So
we talked about those Elite Nine guys. Those are the guys who were on that first team, that club team that went 7-1, and then they played the first 4 years of varsity ball and laid the foundation for the playoff game that came the next year,
right,
in 2005. But I also hope that somebody like Alex Sanders, I was really close to him because I had him in class all those times. I really hope he feels like he's a part of this today.
Well, you know, and I've always preached that in places when we were taking over, like, hey, guys, you are not going to probably see where we're going to take this to. And even these guys, they're not going to see Bear Mountain, even this team, you know. But you are no less important to the legacy of the program and the place, and this will never be less yours. So yeah, absolutely. And we've got some ideas. You know, once we kind of life settles down here, we've been trying to get travel ready, how to reach out to those alums and tell them thank you for the foundation they built and the sweat, blood, and tears. And you know, I'm going to tell you, the first 10 years of a college football program, when you start at this level, typically there's not a lot of fond memories. It was tough. It was tough dealing with, you know, bad facilities and new norms and people not understanding football and, you know, culturally and all the things that go with it. So I've been in some of those places. I was there as the 6th head coach at KCU. I was there at, you know, the 3rd or 4th office coordinator at Faulkner University after they had started football about 4 years earlier. And then I've been here, you know, I guess I got here about 20 years in. And still, you know, there were a lot of things people didn't understand about football. And it was my job to go out and educate and get people to believe that this wasn't this barbaric, you know, male chauvinistic sport.
So Corey's my boss. I'm going to say this. This has nothing to do with Corey being my boss. It's just the truth about what it's like on our campus from somebody who's been here every day we've had football. For a long time here, anytime something went askew on campus, the first thing I heard was it football?
Yeah.
And many times I would drop my head and say, yeah, it was football. We don't hear that anymore. The culture's changed here, Coach. Yeah. It's a different place. What you've shown us are all the positive things that can come out of football. And we were seeing a lot of that, but we weren't seeing all of it. We weren't seeing the community involvement to this level that we've got now. And this group of guys, you know, the statement that you had us read Saturday about their impact on the middle school kids and the younger generation that's coming up. We want them to strive. We want them to want to be Lee Kirkland. We want them to want to be Landon Rowe. We want them to want to be one of these guys like Chucky Moore, who we're going to talk to here in a few minutes. And I think that foundation has really gotten there now because it's just a different place than it was a few years ago.
Yeah, I think you're right. And, you know, these guys were just given some expectations. And trust me, previous coaches had expectations. Mine just might have been a little bit different, a little bit quirky, a little bit corny. And this is not for everybody. Loving each other is not for everybody. Getting a bunch of group of guys together in the NIL and transfer portal era and saying, "Hey, we're going to die to self and love each other." And you go, "Well, coach, man, you're a stat patter. You're a guy that loves offense. How do you do that?" And that's, I don't know. That I think that what happens on Saturday statistically is different than what happens in their hearts in the locker room and on the bus and in the dorms. And so our thing is that we want our kids in and around these guys. We want these guys in and around the kids in the community. And once you understand there's little eyes on you all the time, once you understand there's people that treat you like you're first-class citizens, you don't ever want to go back.
Let's talk a little bit about something that happened Saturday. Late in the first half, I left the press box, and so I thought I'm just going to walk out on the field and on the sideline and see what's going on there. And I walked up to Lee because this is a relationship Lee and I have, right? By this point, he's probably got 6 or 7 touchdown passes. But he had thrown an interception, and I said to him, "Hey, if you quit throwing to their team, it's amazing how many touchdowns you can throw." And he looked at me and said, "That's the same guy who got me last year." I've told you this story already.
Yeah.
But think about that. That's how that brain works. Like he threw that interception, and he thought, "That's the same guy who picked me off last year."
Yeah, he knew when it left his hand that was bad juju. So yeah, it's and he got an earful when he came to the sideline. So. Almost as much as he got when he took that sack with the offensive line. So the O-line coach wasn't real happy, But only 6 sacks in whatever ball games we've played. It's pretty impressive. I think going into that game we're averaging like a sack, giving up a sack every 89 attempts or something. Now I'll tell you that a lot of our attempts aren't attempts; they're little swing screens and stuff like that too.
He's still going to have time to do that, and he's still. But like I said to him. They've got to block for you, but you've also got to get rid of the ball so they don't have to stand there all day and holding somebody up.
I don't know what will happen, but, I thought for a first-year coach right out of, being cut from an NFL training camp, I think Gray Davis has done an outstanding job. I think DeVario Dorsey and Will Sinelli, our O-line coaches prior to that, did a great job recruiting and giving him something to work with. But, to have a 1,000-yard rusher and a, 3,000-yard passer in the same season as a first-year coach, he might think he's got it all figured out.
So, Baker, what do you know?
I know they're a great defensive team. I think Coach does a great job out there. I think they're a really storied program in the history of the NAI. There's some NFL coaches that come out there. Mike McCarthy, the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, is an alum. So really good high school football in that area of, Kansas, Missouri there and Kansas City. And they can slip down into even, Tulsa and Oklahoma City and some good places. So I think they've got some really talented players. I think they're just, really consistent, steady Eddie guys that don't put themselves in bad situations. I think defensively is a 4-2-5 defense. They, pretty multiple in their coverages. And, I don't think their defensive line is the big, thick kids that, you might expect out of corn-fed Middle America, but now the Midwest. But they really active, can slant and pinch and do things. And I think their 2 inside backers in that 4-2 look are really talented in the run game and in carrying, routes and pass coverage. And, I think their secondary's, really, really dynamic too. If you look at it, they're giving up about 15 points a game. We're averaging about 43.5. So it should be a good matchup there. I think offensively they do some really good things in the quarterback run game, play action, formationally. And, their defense has created a lot of turnovers. So
they're going to throw a lot of touchdown passes, too.
Yeah, I think they've gotten some short fields and some different things. I think the defense has created 19 interceptions. So, Lee's got to be conscious of where he's putting the ball and how he's doing it. But, I think people say, well, they're 9-1, you're 5-5, you're the huge underdog. Well, we're the underdog because we got to travel by bus,
Yeah, it's like 14 miles away from flying to this game.
Like 770 miles. So, I mean, that makes us underdog right there because traveling with a group of 80 is always tough. But, I think we're 13 points away from being 9-1 ourselves. So, with that said, we're not going to go in there and tiptoe. I told the guys this is the calmest you will ever see Corey Phipps. I've done what I'm supposed to get here. Now this is a celebration of your ability to, really regroup and capitalize on this season.
So they say you're playing a number 12 team. Well, guess what? We played a top 10 team when we played Georgetown, and we lost to them on a field goal at the end of the game. So, listen, to say that this team's out of our class would be wildly overstating what we're doing here. Are they the favorite? Yes. They're at home. They sleep in their bed the night before the game. We're not going to be able to do that. But we've done a lot of really good things. One last question for you, and this is where you're going to get mad at me, but I'm going to ask you anyway. You look at that trophy right there.
Yeah.
What do you think? What does that trophy mean to you?
Man, I think it means 20 years of sacrifice.
20 years of moving around the country.
Yeah.
And you literally have gone coast to coast.
I think the greatest gift I was given in all this was a picture in the newspaper yesterday of mine. A lot of pictures of UPIKE football, but one of me and my daughter who, lived in 7 states before she was 10. So that's what I think.
Yeah, that's what it's about right there.
Yeah.
And the thing is that the culture that you've built with this team is one that you're okay with having your daughter around these guys.
Yeah.
You're okay with having her on the sidelines.
Yeah,
like, we're good.
Lee's our guy, and, Mario Hardwick was before, and Ben Tate and Myson and Chuck and, Kamari Tinsley, who coaches for us, and, Luke Borelli, where they were in the locker room with her too, and, she's bonded to you and Bradley Yoder and Robert Staggs, and, so that's really cool. And it's not just my sacrifice. That was my story, but it's the sacrifice of a bunch of these guys like Lee Kirkland coming back for a 5th year, a sacrifice of, Myson Livingston, who has a full-time job as a grad student who leaves work every day to come to practice. It's the sacrifice of, all these families. It's the sacrifice of our, Miss Lori and the CAE and the Academic Sports Center at night with our guys. It's the sacrifice of Lauren Curley, Jeff Curley, and our athletic trainers. It's the sacrifice of our strength coaches, on and on and on and on. It's not me. It's not about me. It's about, it takes a lot of sacrifice from hundreds of individuals and thousands of football players who have been through this program, probably several thousand. You got about 100 guys over 20 years. You probably got a couple thousand guys that have come in and out of this program. Some of them got to see the benefits and the rewards. Some won't. And be honest, some of these guys won't see the ultimate benefits of facilities and different things that, Lori Worth and, Burton Webb are raising money for right now. So I think there's a lot that goes into that. I told myself I was going to be less emotional this week, and I was until you did that to me. But
it's amazing you let me keep hosting this show.
Yeah,
just to be honest,
no doubt.
All right, Chucky Moore, tell me what.
Oh, great guy. Knucklehead. Get on to him about having a 15-yard penalty last week for being an absolute dipstick. But outside of that, Chuck's my guy. He's high emotion, high energy, really good football player from private high school there outside of or in and around Huntsville, Alabama. Comes from a great family, a little bit undersized, but, man, he can pack a punch. Last year he was a itty-bitty. Coaches would say pound for pound he was the best football player in the league, just because he was so small, had a great offseason, put on some good weight and some bad weight working at McDonald's. He got a little bit of the supersize me weight gain program, but he got a little bit of that bad weight off, and he's running real well right now.
Love him. Can't wait to talk to him. We'll be back with him after this. You're watching UPIKE Football Coaches Show from Buffalo Wild Wings in Pikeville, Kentucky. Welcome back to the UPIKE Football Coaches Show. I'm Rick Bentley. He's Chuck Moore, Huntsville, Alabama. Tell me where that is exactly in the state of Alabama.
Huntsville, Alabama is in northern Alabama, right there on the Alabama-Tennessee state line.
So the Alabama-Tennessee line, not the Alabama-Georgia line? Okay, good. So why do we – because I know about Huntsville, Alabama. Why do I know about Huntsville, Alabama? What's famous from there besides Chuck Moore?
Well, one of the most famous things that we do have in Huntsville, Alabama is the Space and Rocket Center. Mm-hmm. We're actually called the Rocket City. So
Nice. So tell me about this football season. You're a sophomore, starting linebacker, and leading the team in tackles. That's a good year.
Yes, sir.
When you lead the team in solo tackles and assisted tackles, you're going to lead the team in total tackles. That's a pretty good run right there, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
With a good defense, too. I mean, there's, like I look at Myson and Ben Tate and those guys, and,
Right.
And yet you're the guy who's leading the way there.
Yes, sir.
What's it been like for you this year?
Well, it's just been just a great family environment, you know what I'm saying? Just as a defense, we just go out every week and just, you know what I'm saying, play together and just try to play for each other. And I just have to give my hats off to Coach Elliott and Coach Harris for always, spending long times in the office watching film, game planning, and, you know what I'm saying, putting us in the best position to win. And so I just feel like this year has really meant a lot to me. For being here for 3 years, I feel like this year means the most to me, and it's just because we've battled through so much adversity as a team. You know what I'm saying? Our tough start, going 0-4, and then we bounce back with a great win against Reinhardt. That's probably some of the most memorable moments I'm gonna take with me for the rest of my life.
Any of those tackles stand out to you? Anything that you remember?
I would say that probably one of my most memorable stops this year would have to come again in the Reinhardt game. They were running I can't remember if it was a zone, a counter, but anyways, it was away from my side, and I was the outside linebacker on the weak side, and I came on the blitz, and I made the tackle for loss, and I just feel like once I did that just, I basically kind of sealed the deal in the game and, set it in concrete stone that we won, and you know what I'm saying? I just feel like me making that tackle also was a very impactful part of the game, and you know what I'm saying, gave us some momentum that we kind of lost going through that game because, towards the end we kind of started letting them kind of spiral out of control a little bit, but I feel like we kind of, you know what I'm saying, with that stop we
had them where we wanted them there at that point, didn't we? So tell me, Chuck, when you get ready to play a game like this, we're going to be out in Kansas playing Baker, and how, at 12:55, what's your emotions going to be like? Are you pretty calm, or are you ready to hit somebody?
Well, at 12:55, I feel like I'm just going to be just locked in on my assignment and just thinking about and just trying to envision myself making the plays that I need to make. And I just feel like I'm just going to try to, you know what I'm saying, talk to God. I always like to talk to God before the game. I always pray.
I've seen a lot of you guys.
Yes, sir.
Like some of them go to the end zone, some of them just wherever they are. I see
Yes.
that a lot, and you know me, I like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I always talk to God before the game. You know what I'm saying? I just, tell him everything that I'm, mentally that I'm struggling with, and you know what I'm saying, just help me, be able to play to his will, and you know what I'm saying, and if it be his will, give me, the victory. And I just feel like, having a God a part of your life and a part of your athletic career really takes you a long way. So I feel like talking to God, and at 12:55, my dad always sends me a pregame text message, so I usually send a few text messages back and forth to him. And, Dad, if you're watching, shout out to you.
There you go. How's it going, Dad? Glad to have you along here. So tell me, we get out here, we get ready to play the game, you hit somebody, that first hit.
See,
Does it relax you?
that first hit is always I just feel like that's like what I can build off of till later into the game. That first hit is always the best hit, I feel like. It just, you know what I'm saying, because you walk out there and at first you have a lot of butterflies and you're a little nervous, but once you get that first lick out the way, that first contact, you're ready to go for the rest of the game.
So Coach said, and here's a good thing, Coach is not coming back. We're wrapping it up with you. So
Right,
you
right.
get the last word here. How about that? So I'm going to give you this. Coach said that he got mad at you when you got that 15-yard penalty.
Right.
But he said, other than that, I love Chuck. Like, it's the only time I've ever really been upset with Chuck.
Right.
So anything you want to say to him about that 15-yard penalty? Like, that wasn't your fault or something like that?
Well, I'll just have to tell him, you know what I'm saying, it was just an in-the-moment thing. I was a little excited, you know what I'm saying. I have to be more disciplined than that. And I just wanted to tell him that, that's just a sign of all my emotions and just how excited I was as a team that, we were dominating the game. And I would like to tell him that I'm sorry, and I won't make that mistake again, especially not this week.
Probably not this week. That'd be a good idea. What does it mean for you? It's the second time we've been in the playoffs.
Right, yeah.
I was there the first
Yes, sir.
time, and we were behind 13-7 in the third quarter.
Yes, sir.
and then it kind of got sideways on us. But so if you look at the final score, you think, well, it was a blowout. It wasn't a blowout. We were down by a touchdown heading into the final period of play. And we're playing this team here that's number 12 in the country. But as I said earlier, Georgetown was ranked higher than this when we played them.
Right.
They kicked a field goal on the last play of the game to win it.
Right.
So, I mean, clearly, we've got a caliber team to play with a team like this.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be bad or anything like that. So what are you looking for on Saturday?
Well, what I'm looking for on Saturday is just how balanced their offensive attack is. Like, we were in the meeting room, and Coach Elliott basically told us that this is probably the first team we've seen like this year that's a 50-50 run-pass healthy offense that could do both. And what I'm just looking for Saturday is I'm just reading my keys and just trusting trusting the game plan and just trusting what Coach Harris is trying to teach me to where my eyes need to be, have my eyes in the right places, and then you know what I'm saying. When the play's there to make, I got to go make it.
So we've got a couple of guys in front of you, Myson, Livingston, Ben Tate.
Right.
And I'm not taking anything away from Landon Rowe. Love that kid. But
Right.
these guys, it seems like they were here when we started football.
Right.
But they weren't. They've really not been around that long, but they've been around a long time.
Right.
So when you got experienced guys like that on the defensive side, how much has that helped you?
Man, Myson and Ben, those are I feel as those are they were kind of the people I looked up to in our defense. You know, when I first got here, Myson Ben took me under my wing originally when I first got here. Myson was a little bit on the quieter side because I didn't really know him as well. But Ben took me under my wing when I got here, and he taught me a lot of things about the defense. And previously this summer, me and Ben decided to stay down here in Pikeville over the summer, and he was my workout partner. And and Myson too. Every morning us three would just be in the weight room, just grinding. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get better, trying to get bigger, faster, stronger. And I would just have to say I appreciate just everything they done for me. You know what I'm saying? As kind of like a younger player role, as what they taught me for the defense, and you know what I'm saying. How they, this summer they motivated me to stay in the weight room and get bigger and get faster and get stronger. And, they gave me the encouragement that I needed, you know what I'm saying, to set myself up to have the best year.
And now you're going to get to do that for the ones who are coming after you.
Yes,
here.
sir.
You'll get
Yes,
to
sir.
step into that leadership role. You say that, Myson's a little quieter. Well, everybody's a little quieter than Ben. Right?
Right.
Myson is, he's that guy, he's got that. He reminds me a little bit of Mike Tyson.
Right. Yeah.
And because he's got that that slow burn in his body, and he's going to hit somebody, and you know what
Yes,
he's going
sir.
to do. But he's not as loud. He's not as vocal.
Right.
Until he hits that quarterback.
Until he hits the quarterback, and then he'll kind of get loud and vocal. Right.
Then he'll let us know.
Yeah.
Got this championship trophy here. Tell me what that means to you.
Man, means so much to me. It means so much to me because you know what I'm saying. Just all the hard, the blood, sweat, and tears that I put into at the off season, and waking up at 5 a.m. for mat drills, waking up at 6 a.m. for lifts. You know what I'm saying. Doing community service. All the good things that we do as an organization just led up to this moment, and it just means so much to me to be able to be successful with my brothers, and you know what I'm saying, and to build a winning tradition here at UPIKE and changing the culture.
So we won't be around for Fist Bump Friday this week. You think Coach can find us an elementary school to go out to? And
Yes, sir.
hang
He
out
will.
there?
He will. He will. He definitely will.
It's been fun. Man, I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I love watching you play. I
Yes,
love
sir.
you even more as a person. I
Yes,
want you
sir.
to know that. Thanks for stopping by here and joining us.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so here's the deal. If we win this week, we'll be back here next week. We'll do it again. We won't be here on Thursday. That's Thanksgiving. We're probably not going to do a show on Thanksgiving, but we'll be around next week too. If not, I hope you've seen this year the caliber of people that we've got in our football program. Guys like you, guys like Ben and Myson and Lee. Obviously, we've had on all these guys that we've had on this year. We had the offensive lineman on one time. That was a lot of fun just getting to know those guys. I hope the people have seen what a quality human being we have going through our community right now here at UPIKE and part of this football program. It means a lot to me because this is my school too. I graduated from here a long time before you got here, and I'm just so proud of what we're doing here, man. I want you to know that.
Yes,
so
sir. Thank
for
you.
all of those people, for our friends at Pike TV, for my boy Wyatt helping us out here, for Corey and for Lee, who we've had on today, and for my boy Chucky Moore. We'll be back. We'll talk to you soon. Tonight, by the way, women's basketball 5:30, men's basketball 7:30.
Please come out and support the basketball
Yes,
team.
absolutely.
Big conference games.
And if you can't, right here, we'll have those games for you here on the air. And I know if you come out to the game, you could talk to Chuck. He'll be there, and he'd love to talk to you. So I'm Rick Bentley, thanking all these people.
Thank you for having us.
We will see you hopefully next week here on the UPIKE Football Coaches Show.
Achieve your dreams at the University of Pikeville.